How different does this Cal team look from what you saw?
Yeah, they're you know, he's obviously a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, he's closing in at 700 career victories in his illustrious career, and you know, his teams have always improved throughout the year, and this team's no exception. You look at, you know, they've beaten Oregon now, and then Arizona on the road in successive weekends. They're really executing well offensively. Crab is, you know, obviously Player of the Year candidate, and arguably our hardest guy to defend in the league. He's leading the league in scoring in conference games. I love Cobbs, and their backcourt duo is the best in the conference. And, you know, they're just really playing well. And both teams are improving. I watched that game last night, the first league game of the year, and, you know, we're a much better team, I believe, when we played at home, and I think they're a lot better as well.
When you say that they're better, they just doing the same things, you're just doing it better?
It is executing better.
Not made any sort of changes to it there?
Not really, but they're just executing really well right now.
You talked a little bit about the rebounding on the Pac-12 call this morning. Is that been the most frustrating part about coaching?
Well, you know, I know someone would ask that question. What I first talked about, but you're not talking about it, is that we're number 2 in field goal percentage defense, which I'm really pleased about. And then prior to that, I talked about that we are actually best in the conference in taking care of the basketball. Though if there was a negative to look at, which is what usually just get pulled out, would be obviously our rebound margin. If we're going to have a chance to win this conference, we're not going to win it continuing on the path we're on from a rebounding standpoint. We have to continue to do those things that, you know, we've done a great job all year taking care of the basketball. You know, when you look at where we were defensively in November compared to where we've been since the conference began, you know, and you know, the separation, when you look at the conference stats between our field goal percentage defense and the next is minute. What's not minute is that when you look at the rebound margins as a team, it's you know, a huge. I mean, we're dead last in that area. When I was looking at, and I was really happy, we're number 1 in field goal percentage defense against the tree, 26%. The next is 29. We're number 2 in field goal percentage defense, 41.6. The next is 42.2, so 0.6 percentage point. But what's alarming, and something that, you know, has been alarming for us for a while now, we've just got to somehow figure out, is our rebound margin. We're at minus 6.1. Utah is minus 5.6, and the next is, you know, 2.2. So it's a big thing.
You guys have worked on rebounding a lot. Do you try to change things, or you just keep going back to fundamentals?
Keep emphasizing. You know, we need more rebounds out of our guards, primarily Larry. You know, we've got to get more rebounds out of Jordan. We've got to get more rebounds out of Norman. We've got to get more rebounds out of Shabazz. I'm talking about the defensive end. On the offensive end, Jordan, Larry, and Norman are never supposed to even rebound.
When you talk about getting more rebounds out of your guards, is that how delicate a balance is that when you're trying to push the ball too, that they're going to be wanting to get out?
Yeah, in other words, you can't push it unless you get stops, ideally. It's very hard. And we've had more baskets in transition on made baskets this year than we've ever had in my tenure. But if you're taking the ball to the net, it's so much easier to defend than if you're taking it off the glass. And because we've been so heavy on transition, that's been part of our issue. These guys are so anxious to get out and get going that they're not rebounding, Chris. So it's a really important point what you're making. And I think about this all the time. I mean, I'm, you know, alone in my thoughts, you know, constantly about this stuff. And so it's a trade-off. You know, we're a much better transition team, but we don't have Kevin Love getting every rebound for us. You know, so it makes it more difficult when you give them that kind of difference.
What's been the difference? I mean, early in the Pac-12 season, you weren't getting out rebounded by double digits. I think it was 1 or 2 a game for the first few games. But lately, it's been.
Well, I pointed this out that when we played Washington, if you go back and look at that box score, you'll see that the difference was we missed 11 more shots than they did from the field because we weren't as efficient offensively. And that was like the difference in the rebound margin, was exactly how many more shots we missed. The difference was they had 19 turnovers to our 10. So some of that is that, offensively we haven't been as good in terms of field goal percentage efficiency, and we're not getting as many back. And I talked about it with Travis. We need Travis to get more offensive rebounds. And, I thought that Dave had a great practice today, really shot the ball well, did a really nice job. And was excited about that. Norman had a great practice today. Norman was our best player on the court today in practice, so that was good. We probably went a little long today because we had guys in the morning as well. So tomorrow will be a very short practice.
Is Travis fully recovered from the strep throat?
Yes. Now Dave has got a cough. Dave's seen the doctor today because he's got a cough and he's hacking. So hopefully we can get him some kind of meds so he'll be feeling perky for Thursday.
I'm surprised for you to wake up yesterday.
Pardon me?
I'm surprised you to wake up yesterday and find yourself in the first place.
Yeah, well, we knew it Sunday night, yeah, but I mean, it's, this thing I thought going into the season would come down last weekend. I still think that whoever wins our conference would be decided the last weekend of the conference. And I just heard, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, not to change the subject, but I guess they had the guys surrounded out in Jaybird. That is so great. I am so happy to hear that for everybody's safety out there. That's like, puts everything in perspective to have, the police closing in on that guy is tremendous.
We weren't talking rebound margin before you came in.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Coach, do you feel, is there a sense from the guys that if they don't leak out, it will hurt their transition game? Is that
No, I don't think so. It's just, say a U-ball. That's what you do. I mean, I want to get out there first and score, You go watch the games in the summer, right? There's not a lot of great walkouts going on.
Has that style kind of made rebounding a bit of a lost art among
Not at all. I always think, and as you look, and if you went back and studied the Final Four, say the last 10 years, you'd see that almost without exception, every one of those teams' rebound margin is close to double digits. So it directly correlates to winning, dominating the class. And we've made up for it by taking great care of the basketball, number one, and being efficient offensively for the most part during the year.
Coach, what's the difference in having a higher profile athlete on your team like Shabazz now versus when Kevin was here?
It's even more connected. I mean, even in the last, 5 years, how social media has just exponentially continued to grow. I mean, it's just like that thing, they're making such a big deal to, in this town where the Clippers and the Lakers, our players are more closely treated like a pro than a college player in terms of how they're perceived because of social media and the media. Like the thing with Shabazz after Larry made the shot the other day, that never would have even been discussed 5 years ago. I just think it's just, it just continues to grow. And I think when you're in a town like our town where you have the Kobe, Dwight Howard thing, I mean, everybody, feeds off of that kind of stuff.
How do you think he's handled it?
Great. Unbelievable. I mean, like I told someone else, there's nothing to that. I mean, Shabazz and Larry, I was talking today on the radio show. I was on the radio show with Jeff Goodman and Steve Lapis. And I was talking about, those guys they're best friends. Larry's got the nicest place on the whole team. His dad's a multi-millionaire. He has his own apartment over here in an awesome area in Westwood. I mean, he's got the swimming pool, the workout room, right across. I mean, it's in the nicest spot you could be in. I mean, he had, it's decorated. I mean, it's nice. I mean, they're best buddies. I mean, So believe me, they were very happy after that game. And I'm so glad no one got hurt. We already had a guy get injured in warm-ups this year. Imagine that. I mean, that's a possibility that someone could have got hurt. I mean, but they were jumping around just now. You never know.
Is Shabazz unfairly scrutinized at times from the thing in the backpack?
Yeah, but anytime, that you're the #1 player in the country, and you have that. I mean, he's a top 10 pick in the NBA draft right now. Anytime you have that, you have so much more scrutiny because there's so much interest. And he is a great kid. I mean, you guys have all talked to him, interviewed, been on one. Couldn't be a nicer young man. And for everything that he's dealt with in terms of all that attention, all that scrutiny, at such a young age, because of where social media is now, because of the interest in college basketball, to me, it's just amazing how humble he is and what a great kid he is.
Kevin never had issues where they had the internet and social media?
Well, you know what? He got a death threat on his phone on our way to Oregon that year. And that was, pretty disgusting. But other than that, no, it wasn't even close to where we are now. Facebook 5 years ago had how many users compared to now. I mean, it's just a totally different world. Everything, you guys are tweeting a lot more than you were 5 years ago. It's expected, right? It's expected during the game you need to be tweeting to your followers and your readership. And that wasn't here 5 years ago. It's just so different. And where is it going to be 10 years from now? Well, who knows?
Does that mean your job harder or just different in that way?
Different. Just, it's different. I think it's made, it just makes it more, everything's more scrutiny. And there's just, everybody's looking for a story, comment, response,
Does that make you nostalgic at all, even for just 5 years ago when you could focus a little bit more on basketball and not every little media?
Oh, hey, the changes that continue to happen, everything's evolving. And so if you're stuck in the past, I'm trying to evolve too. I talked about going into the season. I mean, like we're running more. We're, things, you're always trying to evolve and you got to keep up with change. I'm not, doing my tweeting during the game. Maybe that'll be next. Time out, guys. I got a tweet here.
And going back to the rebounding, do you think, I'm sure you're harping on in practice to move the face, do you think the guys understand? I mean, they're winning games getting out rebounded.
Yeah, I think you should ask them. Yeah, they're hearing from me until I have blue in the face. And it'll be big for us here, as we move forward. And the closer you get to March, every game is big. And people are looking at it. People are saying, hey, they're getting outboarded. We got to kill them on the glass. It's a point of emphasis. I'm sure it was for the Huskies. And I just wanted to say this. I was really, I haven't had a chance to reach out to him, but I was really sad to hear about Lorenzo Romar's mother. I mean, he's a former Bruin, just a great person. I've known him since high school. And I just found out Sunday that his mother passed away. There was no media coverage of that. I mean, you guys were listening to the conversation today with Bud Withers, and on behalf of UCLA basketball, our thoughts and prayers are with Lorenzo and his family, both here locally where he grew up and with his family in Seattle. Thanks.